Hello everyone, welcome to today's lecture. Today we will be starting with chapter 13, chemical change and chemical bond. So in your lower classes you might have studied about this topic, that is physical change and chemical change, the types of changes which are taking place during reactions. First, can you recall questions? What are the methods of classification of changes? What are the methods? We know about two classification of changes, that is whether the given change is a physical change or a chemical change. What is the difference between physical and chemical change? I have given you the difference between physical change and chemical change. Physical change, the chemical composition does not change. The chemical composition of the particular compound, it does not change in physical change. In chemical change, the chemical composition changes. For example, H2O is water. Ice is also H2O. Vapor is also H2O. That means the molecular formula is H2O. It does not change in case of a physical change. So the chemical composition remains the same in a physical change and the chemical composition changes in a chemical change. Next, chemical bonds are neither broken nor formed. Okay, now during a chemical reaction the bond between the elements, it is broken during the time of chemical changes. Okay, whereas in case of physical changes they are neither broken nor formed, whereas in chemical change chemical bonds are either broken or formed. Next, new substances are not formed, only the form of the state of the compound changes. Okay, it could change the state of matter from solid to liquid, liquid to gas or so on, but new substances are not formed. Whereas in chemical change, new substances with different properties are formed. Cannot be identified by change in color, taste or release of gases. Okay, now what are the changes which we can see during a chemical reaction? It is change in color, taste or release of gases. We can see these changes at the time of a chemical reaction, but it could not be seen in a physical change. So these are the differences between physical change and chemical change. Now we will see the next. Classify the following changes into physical and chemical change. Ripening of mango, it is a chemical change. A ripened mango cannot be changed into a raw mango. Melting of ice, it is a physical change. Boiling of water, it is physical change. Dissolution of salt and water, physical change. Ripening of banana, chemical change. Fragrance on ripening fruit, it is a chemical change. Darkening of a cut potato, chemical change. Bursting of an inflated balloon, it is a physical change. Sound of bursting firecracker, chemical change. Foul smell from a spoiled food, that is also a chemical change. So you may see that whenever there is a chemical change, a new substance is formed. That means from that substance you cannot get the original substance back. That is said to be a chemical change. So this is about the chemical changes. In the next paragraph they have given an experiment about take the lemon juice in a clean glass, take 2 drops of lemon juice in a spoon and taste. Okay, if you spoon it, if you taste it, it would taste sour because it is containing acid. To that you have to add a pinch of baking soda. Baking soda is a base. Now the base and the acid will react to form salt and water, and you can see different changes. For example, in figure 13.1 you may see the banana, apple. Apple changes its color after some time. If you cut it and keep it open for some time, it changes its color. Why? Because the apple reacts with the oxygen in the atmosphere, okay, and undergo reaction to get blackened. So there is change in color. Again, next is the example of nails, where the nails change in color to show that there is a chemical change which is taking place. When it is burning, there is release of smoke, release of gases which show that there is a change in change in gas, okay, formation of gas. That means it is a chemical change. Next, they have shown some bananas which have got blackened. It is due to chemical reaction, that is ripening of banana, which is a chemical change. Next, then in a conical flask they have shown the color of the solution, and you can see bubbles also. Okay, so these are the changes which can be, with which we can identify whether it is a chemical change or not. That means it can be identified by change in color, taste, or release of gases. Okay, now that is about physical and chemical change. Now we may move on to the next page, page number 90. Chemical change and word equation. Okay, so you have understood what is a chemical change. Now during a chemical change, there are reactants which combine together to form products. It could be represented with the help of a particular symbols. Okay, that symbols, that representation with the help of symbols or molecular formula, that is called as chemical equation. Now, when writing a chemical equation, it could be a word equation, or it could be with the help of molecular formula. If it is written in words, then you have to write the names of the reactants and the names of the products. For example, what are reactants? It has been given in the box on page number 90. What are reactants? Substances written on the left hand side of the arrow are original substances that take part in the reaction. So the original substances that take part in the reaction are called as reactants, and the substances, new substances which are formed, are called as products. Reactants are written towards the left hand side of the arrow, and the products are written to the right hand side of the arrow. So in this case, A and B are reactants and C and D are products. Okay, so there is an arrow which shows, which is always heading from reactants towards the products. Okay, now there are some examples of natural chemical changes and man-made chemical changes in our textbook. Okay, so natural chemical changes, the first example is that of respiration. We had studied about this in chapter 11 about cellular respiration, where glucose reacts with oxygen to form carbon dioxide and water. This is the word equation, where glucose reacts with oxygen to form carbon dioxide and water. Glucose is C6H12O6 plus O2 will give CO2 plus H2O. Okay, this is the chemical equation. So you should be learning the word equation and the chemical equation. Next is the reaction of carbon dioxide plus calcium hydroxide. That means you have to take lime water in a test tube and you have to blow through the lime water. When you are blowing, you are supplying, you are providing carbon dioxide gas. That carbon dioxide will react with calcium hydroxide to form calcium carbonate and water. In this case, the lime water will turn milky. Why? The lime water will turn milky because lime water reacts with carbon dioxide to form calcium carbonate, which is white in color. Therefore, the lime water turns milky. So this is the word equation. Carbon dioxide plus calcium hydroxide gives calcium carbonate plus water. And this is the chemical equation, CO2 plus CaOH twice. This is calcium hydroxide giving CaCO3, that is calcium carbonate plus water. You have to learn these reactions. Next is photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is opposite to that of respiration. You may see. In photosynthesis, what are the reactants? Carbon dioxide and water. In respiration, what are the products? Carbon dioxide and water. Okay, so photosynthesis is opposite to that of respiration. So during photosynthesis in green plants absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, water from the soil. In presence of sunlight and chlorophyll, that carbon dioxide reacts with water to form glucose and oxygen. Okay, which is used up by the plant body or stored in the plant body. So what are the reactants which are acting in photosynthesis, it is carbon dioxide and water. And what are the products? The products are glucose and oxygen. CO2 plus H2O gives, in presence of sunlight in green plants, it will form C6H12O6, that is glucose plus oxygen. This is the chemical equation. You have to learn the word equation and the chemical equation. The question is of 2 marks. Okay. Now the next is about the man-made chemical changes. Some man-made chemical changes which you have seen. First one is about, then the first activity which we had discussed just now, you have to take lime juice and to that you have to add baking soda. It is said to be a soda drink. Okay, when we take it when we are having acidity. When we suffer from acidity, we take lime juice and we add we add baking soda to it and we drink, so it neutralizes the acidic conditions in the stomach. It is a man-made chemical change. Besides that, the first one is combustion of fuels. Combustion means burning. Okay, combustion means burning of fuels. When the fuels are burned, the carbon in the fuel react with oxygen in the atmosphere to form carbon dioxide gas. Okay, the carbon in the fuel, it reacts with oxygen to form carbon dioxide gas. This is very fast and irreversible reaction. Next is Shahbath tile with dilute hydrochloric acid. Now Shahbath tiles in our kitchens, earlier it used to be of Shahbath tile. That Shahbath tile is chemically made up of calcium carbonate. If dilute hydrochloric acid happens to spill on that Shahbath tile, then that dilute hydrochloric acid will react with calcium carbonate to form calcium chloride plus carbon dioxide and water. You can see bubbles of carbon dioxide. You can see a white deposit of calcium chloride along with water. This is the word equation. This is the chemical equation. Chemical equation is CaCO3 plus HCl. CaCO3 is calcium carbonate plus HCl is hydrogen chloride, gives CaCl2. Okay, that is calcium chloride plus CO2, carbon dioxide plus water. This is an important question which is asked. Now the next is softening of hard water. Now what do you mean by hard water? Hard water, it is the water is hard due to presence of chloride salts of calcium and magnesium. Okay, it is hard due to presence of salts. Okay, chloride salts of calcium and magnesium. So if you remove those salts, hard water gets converted into soft water. Okay, the water which we drink is soft water. Hard water, I'll tell you an example about the water which we get from bore wells. Okay, it is hard water. It leaves a white colored deposit after use. Okay, if we use for several days, you can see a white colored deposit in your wash basins. Okay, on your vessels and all. So that is due to presence of chloride and sulfate salts of calcium and magnesium. So if you remove those salts, hard water can be converted into soft water. How can you convert hard water into soft water? It is a chemical reaction. You have to add sodium carbonate. When you add sodium carbonate, the calcium chloride reacts with sodium carbonate to form calcium carbonate and sodium chloride. Okay, this you get in the form of precipitate and it can be removed. Now what do you mean by precipitate? Precipitate means it is solid particles which can be removed. So calcium chloride plus sodium carbonate gives calcium carbonate plus sodium chloride. This is the reaction for calcium salts. Okay, chloride salts of calcium. This is the word equation. What is the chemical equation? CaCl2 plus Na2CO3. CaCl2 is calcium chloride. Na2CO3 is sodium carbonate, gives calcium carbonate plus sodium chloride. Next is about magnesium. This has not been given in the textbook. The reactions which has not been given in the textbook, you have to write it. It is asked. Magnesium chloride plus sodium carbonate gives magnesium carbonate plus sodium chloride. So magnesium chloride is the salt which is present in water, hard water, due to which the water is hard. If you have to convert that hard water into soft water, you have to add sodium carbonate. What will happen at that time? The magnesium chloride which is present in hard water, it will react with sodium carbonate to form magnesium carbonate and sodium chloride. Okay, this is in the form of a precipitate and it could be removed by filtration. The reaction, the chemical equation is MgCl2 plus Na2CO3 gives MgCO3 plus NaCl. Okay, what is MgCl2? Magnesium chloride. Na2CO3 sodium carbonate. MgCO3 magnesium carbonate, and NaCl sodium chloride. So this is about the physical and chemical change. Distinguish between physical and chemical change is a very important question. Besides that, all these reactions could be asked. You have to learn both the word equation and the chemical equation. You will be given only the reactants. For example, what happens during respiration? So in that question you have to know the reactants also, you have to know the product also. Otherwise, they will give you what happens when Shabat tiles comes in contact with dilute hydrochloric acid. In that case, they will give you the reactants. You must be knowing the products. You should be able to write the word equation also. You should be able to write the chemical equation also. So you have to practice this several times in your notebook. If you are having any doubt, you may ask. Thank you.